Hello! Today's stories come from r/Am I the Butthole? We've got 4 stories today and an update. Let's dive in with Am I the Butthole for wanting to split things 3 ways? I'm American, grew up in Oregon, and that is where most of my family is. My roommate is from South Africa. I have known her about 8 years. We live in California. We moved in this house on July 1, 2021. It was a house that we found together. Prior to this, I was living happily alone with my dog. I moved in with her because she was having difficulty finding and affording a place on her own. House is 3-bedroom and 2-bath. Roommate has a baby born in August. She keeps the baby's crib in her room but uses the 3rd room for some baby things. We decided when we moved in that we would keep the 3rd room open as a guest room. 3 weeks ago, she tells me on a Wednesday night her mom is coming to visit from South Africa and will arrive on Saturday. When I asked how long she was staying, she first said she would be here 3 weeks but might extend her trip a little. When I told her my brother was supposed to be here for a visit at the end of March, 7 weeks away at the time, she answered that her mom will still be here then. I ask again how long her mom is staying and she flips out on me. Gives me a lot of reasons why she needs her mom here, calls me selfish for even asking, but never answers the question of how long she is staying. Now that my roommate's mom has been here for a few weeks, it is very clear that they plan for the visit to last 4 to 6 months. For example, I have overheard them talking about many things they will be doing this summer. Another example is, the mom told me how she brought 4.5 months' supply of her prescription medication and will have to figure out how to refill it here after it runs out. These are just a few examples, but there have been many things. I was okay with a 3 to 4 week visit only because her mom was coming from far away out of the country. I'm not okay with a 4 to 6 month visit. I never wanted to live with 3 adults in this house. In fact, it was something we discussed before moving in when we decided to keep the 3rd bedroom as a guest room. After giving it some thought, I decided to tell my roommate that while she has another adult living her full time, taking up the 3rd bedroom, it's not fair for me to be paying half of the rent and utilities. I propose that we split things 3 ways while she is here for the next several months. They both flipped out at this suggestion, saying that wasn't the agreement when we moved in together. They called me all kinds of names, basically saying I'm a horrible person. When I brought up how now I can't have any visitors or have my family visit, they both said that because my family is just from Oregon and I was able to see them at Christmas, that I basically don't need or deserve to have my family visit. That because her mom came from far away and they hadn't seen each other in 3 years because of vid, that they deserve to spend time together more than I deserve to see my family. Basically, that I can see them another time. Definitely not the butthole. 6 months. What are we even talking about here? That's pretty much a 3rd roommate. 3 months, 6 months, a year? Doesn't sound like there's really any definitive end date. And you know there won't be when there's a newborn and free childcare. OP is getting used for rent and is being taken advantage of. I found a few updates in the comments, so let's see what happened after these events. Update 1, OP. Lease is up at the end of June. Things have gotten worse here, so I actually contacted the landlord and asked if I can get out of the lease early since technically my roommate is breaking the lease by moving another person in. Thankfully, I just heard back and my landlord is going to let me move. Update 2, OP. Yes, I am pretty upfront with things in general. I believe that communication is key in relationships. I told her when I decided to contact the landlord. Her original response was a pretty sarcastic, "Fine, go ahead." But I don't think she realized that I was serious about moving. Now that she realizes I'm 100% serious and I have already started looking at new places, she's basically not speaking to me. She did try and give me a guilt trip on Saturday when we were having an argument how she's a single mom living paycheck to paycheck, but I shut that down. I fully realized that I made a mistake moving in with her. I had a small little nagging gut feeling that this wasn't going to work out, and I should have listened to it. I need to put myself first now, find somebody else, and just move on. The whole situation has been pretty stressful and upsetting for me. It sucks to lose a friend. Next up, am I the butthole for touching my wife's tampon box? Seems like a petty fight, but my wife is mega pissed with me right now. I was reorganizing the storage room the other day and came across a tampon box. The box was being kept behind some cleaning products in the cabinet, so I removed it and put it on top of the counter so I could clean out the cabinet. I resumed cleaning and put everything back except for the tampon box. I thought it didn't belong there, so I put it inside the bedroom and left it there. At 1 p.m., my wife got home, went to the storage room, then came back, freaking out, asking if I was there earlier. I said yes, I reorganized and cleaned the storage room, and she got upset, asking about her tampon box. I told her to relax. It's in the bedroom, inside one of the drawers. She rushed into the bedroom, stayed there for a few minutes, then came back yelling at me for touching her stuff. I asked what she meant, touching her stuff. I was just cleaning and came across the tampon box, which I had no idea why it was there in the first place. She berated me about touching her stuff no matter it isn't, she won't have to go looking for it. Then said I should have just left it as it is, which to me was ridiculous because she did not need it right then, so what's the big deal? She got irritated and called me an a-hole for arguing with her about it when I'm in the wrong. I said no, I do not think that when I did justify her yelling at me because it's not like I threw the box away. She argued, then stormed off and is still upset about it till this very hour. I get she's big on privacy and not having her stuff touched, but I think she overreacted. Am I the butthole here? Edit. The storage room is next to the bathroom. I've just read a few comments, and I don't know why people assume there aren't tampons in the tampon box. Anyway, this had me baffled, so I'll check the box and get back to you with another edit. He's not the butthole. I actually think this is a symptom of a larger issue. I've heard from many guys that they put in the effort to clean up, tidy up, whatever, and then they're not using the right cloth, or simply aren't doing it right. But there isn't a specific right way of doing it, and the right way changes from time to time. But alas, there is no update to what was actually in that box. Reddit did what Reddit does. The comments unraveled into what if the box was a stash of cash for her exit plan because OP may have been abusive, etc. I don't think he'll be back anytime soon. Third story is, am I the butthole for calling my wife a hypocrite for making our son do chores when he's sick, but not our daughter? Throwaway. Sorry for any mistakes. Not my first language. My wife is 43 and I'm 41. We have 2 kids, a 16-year-old son from a previous relationship of mine and a 14-year-old daughter. My son has been living with us full-time since he was 4. To the current issue. My son has been suffering from cluster headaches for about 1 year now. They run in my family. He gets them every other month. Yesterday, he got hit by one again while I was at work and my wife was at home. When I got home in the afternoon, I found my son in the driveway carrying pots of plants inside. My wife loves everything that has to do with gardening and plants and regularly buys new ones. Or rather attempting to, he was visibly in pain, pale, moving slowly, the typical watery eyes, etc. When I asked him what he was doing, he told me my wife had told him to help her move those, but I didn't think he was in any condition to do so and sent him inside and to bed. I got inside and confronted my wife with it, and she immediately got mad at me, saying it wasn't a big deal for him and that she had him take one of his pills. They help but can only do so much. So I reminded her that she lets our daughter stay home from school for 2 days every month and frees her of any chores when she's on her period, and is essentially being a biased hypocrite. We argued for a while and she said I'm undermining her authority, but I insisted on leaving our son alone for the day and carried the plants inside myself, which I'd done anyway had she just waited for me. Just to clarify, I don't interfere with my wife keeping our daughter home when she's not well. If she says that's necessary, then it's fine with me. I'm also not asking what is worse, but I don't think it was okay for her to make our son do this when he was in a lot of pain and basically grimacing with every movement. She also knows that he's not that great at standing up for himself. But am I the butthole for that argument? Not the butthole. Monthly cluster headaches might be considered worse, especially if he has medication. Different rules for different kids is bad enough. I really hope it isn't because he's not her biological son. But let's find out in the update. Update. Hey everyone, I've been asked for an update on this. I've talked to my son and wife about the issue and made a decision. When I talked to my wife, I asked her how exactly the whole thing happened. She said she gave him a pill around noon when he started to feel bad, then went out for a while and only called up to him if he could help when she got back. She didn't see him, so she thought he was fine when he went out. I was shocked that she didn't check on him. She said she was sorry and wanted to apologize to him. Then I talked to my son. He assured me that his stepmom hasn't made him work when he was sick before. This was the first time, and while I was glad about that, I dug a little deeper and asked him if he's ever felt less than his sister in the eyes of his stepmother. He admitted that he did start feeling this way as he became a teenager. Not when he was a child, though, but he never told me about it. Nothing bad happened, so he didn't think he should mention his feelings. I was very shocked about this. We talk a lot normally, and told him that he needs to tell me things like that even if they seem small in isolation. However, due to this dangerous lack of concern on my wife's side and my son's feelings, I decided we will spend some time at my brother's to figure everything out. My son is sad about it, but he understands my decision. He's too good of a kid to be mistreated in any way, and I don't want him to learn that it's okay to ignore your well-being for other people. I'm very proud of his kindness, but I don't want to see it being abused, especially by family. Thanks all. Edit. Since I get a lot of questions about this, we haven't moved out permanently. I only want to get some space between my wife and son. I've talked about this with my daughter, and she understands that there's issues between her mom and half-brother that we need to solve, and she isn't sad about it. And now for our final story. Am I the butthole for calling my husband out in front of my friends on planting a recording device while we were having a girls' night in? This happened last week. I'm 26 and my husband's 31. I was planning on having a girls' night in at home, and he initially was like, "No, not here, get a hotel or something." I said I couldn't afford a hotel and no need for a hotel. He asked if he could join us if he's going to allow it, but I said no, this isn't how girls' nights in work. He eventually agreed to let me have it and said he'd have to go out so my friends could be comfortable. I invited the girls over, and most of them had a lot of heavy venting to do. At some point, things got a bit emotionally charged, and there was crying, lots of it. After that, we brought in the food and drinks. When I went to turn the TV on, I spotted a small device tucked on the side. I took a look and found that it was actually a voice recording device. I was in disbelief. I knew my husband put it there to listen to our private talk, which felt highly violating. I didn't hide it from the girls. I showed them the device, called my husband to get him to get home, and confronted him right there in front of the girls. The girls were shocked, and my husband denied after I flipped out and called him out, then said he was feeling curious to know about what we were talking about and wanted to make sure we weren't trash-talking him specifically. The event was cut short, and the girls left. I kept lashing out at him for ruining the night and possibly my relationship and trust with my friends. I said that not only did he violate my privacy, but my friends' as well, because they were talking about very personal stuff. He argued that it was no big deal, that I should have let him join us if we had nothing to hide, and that this was on them for opening up about private matters to begin with. He went on to talk about how I humiliated him to call him out in front of my friends. I told him they deserve to know who he really is after what he's done. We argued some more, and he went out again. We're in conflict till today, and I feel like I made a mistake calling him out like that aside from how I felt about it. He claims that my friends will no longer respect him after that. Am I the butthole? This is a tough one. It's interesting to me that she's highlighting the importance of privacy while actively demoralizing her husband in front of her friends. Yes, the husband was a butthole for planting a surveillance device, no question. But what's the benefit of dragging him home and yelling at him in front of friends, except to humiliate him? Is privacy really that important if you're airing your dirty laundry in front of everyone? And this comment about showing her friends who he really is, what does that mean? If I was OP's husband, I wouldn't be so concerned about her friends respecting him, but more so building some mutual respect with his wife. Because he's gonna need it after pulling a stunt like that. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.